Welcome back. What is it? The baseball song? Take me out to the ball game. Welcome back to Scissors and Scrubs. I'm Nicole. Laura's taking a drink. Give her a minute.
I'm Laura.
And it's the world-renowned summer series, Laura.
Summer's here.
There's no bears in this one, but we're going to the ballpark.
My favorite place to be.
One of the specific ballparks, the best ballpark in the entire country. We're going to Fenway Park.
Fenway Park.
We're going to Fenway Park. What does Fenway Park have to do with medicine? Well, let us tell you. There's been some incidents at Fenway Park, and one of them has even changed the uniforms, the way they wear their helmets. Tony's.
Oh yeah.
We got some local roots going on. We got some good stories. And we're talking baseball injuries today.
And it's just the perfect...
It's a great night.
Other than being at the beach, is it a better night in the world than being at Fenway and sitting there on a warm summer night?
I would rather gargle diarrhea than watch baseball. But that being said, there's nothing like Fenway Park. The feeling you get when you come up the ramp and you look at the field.
It's so good.
I love Fenway Park. I never watch the game. I'm watching the crowd. I'm eating hot dogs, drinking beer, watching the crowd. I could give shit about the baseball game. It's boring. It's like watching paint dry to me. But I'm not a sports person.
Love it. But I just love being there.
I like
it makes
Fenway
me happy.
Park.
Like literally, if you look over at me, I'm like this.
Yeah.
Like I'm just...
Because it's especially on a good night.
Oh,
if it's a beautiful night, and I love watching the crowd.
Yeah.
I love doing the wave. I'm an idiot. I love doing the wave. I'm like, oh, we're getting another round. It's going around again. It's going around again. It's coming. And now where they have seats on the monster, the wave goes the whole
all
park.
the way around. You don't have to wait wall to wall.
Yeah, and it's just there's so much history to Pesky's Pole. You got all these little nooks and all the shit they do and the music they're gonna play. I love Fenway Park.
Me too. We're going Saturday night. Can't wait.
I probably could kill us about any other baseball park, but I love me some Fenway Park.
I'm gonna say this being a Boston Red Sox fan. I went to the old Yankee Stadium. Like Babe years
Ruth,
ago,
yeah.
The Red Sox playing the Yankees, and we went. I mean, it was so tall. It was so tall. It was unbelievable, like how high the seats were. And we kept going and going and go. Of course, we were in like the last possible row known to man. I could not get over the size of that stadium, but it had zero character.
That's the thing. I think Fenway Park has a ton of character. The greats that were in there, like, Ted Williams played in that park. Babe Ruth played in that park. Like, the greats of baseball played in that park because it's one of the only original parks left.
Right.
Seats are really uncomfortable, but that's to be said.
It's all right.
And the grandstands on a hot day suck because it traps the heat.
I don't
you want
like
to fucking melt.
I don't like a day game.
And I don't like how much they're charging for everything. If you need water in that sweltering heat, it's $8 a bottle.
I know.
But I love Fenway Park.
Yes.
So, So we're going to talk about some shit that's happened at Fenway Park.
Okay.
And Laura is going to take it away.
Okay. August 7th, 1982. During a Red Sox-White Sox game at Fenway Park, Jim Rice, one of my all-time favorite players.
My father always got seats to the games, and we always sat right near Jim Rice. Him and Oil Can Boyd are the only people I could tell you about from back in the day.
Oh, my God. Jim Rice saved a little boy's life.
Yes, he did.
In the fourth inning, the second baseman for the Red Sox, Dave Stapleton, hit a foul ball over the first base dugout. Tom Keene was sitting 2 rows above the dugout with his 4-year-old son, Jonathan, and Jonathan's 2-year-old brother. With no time to react, the foul ball struck 4-year-old Jonathan directly in the face.
Oof.
Tom initially thought the ball hit the dugout, the father, but then looked over at Jonathan and found him slouched over, covered in blood, and then Jonathan starts screaming. He has a huge gash on his forehead, and the crowd now all realizes, because he's screaming, that this kid just got hit, and now the crowd is frantically calling for help.
And that ball's probably going, 95 miles an hour when it hits him.
So Jim Rice hears the commotion, and he asks someone next to him, what happened? And he's told that a little boy was hit by the ball, and he said, quote, "So why are you all sitting here?" And he got up, came running up. He grabbed Jonathan out of the stands in his arms. He's carrying him like a limp person, he's just limp across his arms. Runs directly into the dugout, because that's where the medical staff is. Runs him right into the dugout to the medical staff so they could start working on him.
Oh.
The Red Sox team physician, Arthur Pappas, called Children's Hospital in Boston while the medical team was working on him. Jonathan was rushed to Children's Hospital, where doctors noted that Rice's quick actions were instrumental to Jonathan's survival. The foul ball fractured his skull.
Oof.
And he spent 5 days at Children's Hospital.
Wow.
Yeah. Jonathan has no memory of the event. He does have a scar above his left eye to this day, but no lasting effects. And the next year, Jonathan threw out the ceremonial first pitch on opening day. And I think he did it with like Kyle Yastrzemski's father. Like they both got to do the ceremonial pitch. And when Jim Rice was asked why he did it, like, in a press interview after, he said, quote, "If it was your kid, what would you do? The baby was crying and there was a lot of blood. I think he was more in shock than anything."
Well, this is why you don't get expensive seats, Laura.
Right. That's my kids would never get
where
hit
I
by
sit.
a foul
I have no fear of getting hit by anything.
My
except
kids are
maybe
never
a
getting
fucking
touched
bird
by a
turd.
foul ball.
Yeah, there's no chance in hell anything's hitting me
No.
where I get to sit. Sometimes my seats are in the parking lot, so it's even better. I can hear the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Laura, we're going to talk about Tony Canigliaro. Tony Canigliaro.
Mm-hmm.
Where was Tony born? Fucking Revere.
Of course he was.
Revere.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Listen to the name. Where
Tony
else would he be born?
Canigliaro. You know who else was born in Revere? Fredo from The Godfather. John Cazale. He was born in Revere. Just saying. All the good Italians come from Revere. Me being one of them. So he is born in Revere, Mass. on January 7th, 1945. Grew up in Revere and East Boston. Like every good Italian, you always have East Boston connections, though my parents did not. And they're proud of that for some reason. Oh, we didn't come from East Boston. We grew up in Revere, straight. Like they're fucking royalty.
A step up.
Right, they think they're fucking royalty. She grew up near a pig farm. Tony loved baseball. He ate, slept, breathed baseball. He used to pitch batting. He's talking of his uncle, Vincent Martinelli. Vincent's quote is, he used to pitch batting practice to me. This is Tony's quote about Vincent. Also probably Vinny Martinelli. He used to pitch batting practice to me for hours till my hands bled. So he would just be out there patting, pitching. Like he loved fucking baseball. In his very first at-bat playing for the Orient Heights Little League,
Nice.
he hits a home run over the center field fence. By the time he's 13 in the Pony League, he and his brother Brian, his brother followed him through baseball throughout his career, but we're not talking about him. They were traveling in the out-of-state tournaments. He went to St. Mary's High School in Lynn and was being scouted by scouts like Lenny Marullo and Milt Boyling. By the time he graduated, he had 14 scouts scouting him.
Wow.
When he graduated, now these numbers mean shit to me, okay? I might as well be reading Chinese to you now, but for anybody who listens to baseball, maybe these numbers mean something to you. Okay. By graduation, he's batting over 600, and he won 16 games on the mound because he did start kind of pitching.
All the good kids pitch.
Right. Well,
When they're little.
His team won the Catholic Conference.
Wow.
He played American Legion ball in the summer, and he had a 600 batting average at the Summer League. In 1962, the Red Sox asked him to come to work out at Fenway Park. When the American Legion ball ended that summer, his father was like his manager, so he was already courting bids. Boston's Milt Boyling made the best bid at $20,000, and he signed with the Red Sox. He is sent to Bradenton, Florida for the Instructional League. In the spring of 1963, he's invited to the Red Sox minor league camp in Ocala, Florida. He did well there, and he's supposed to report to Wellsville in the New York Penn League. But he's dating this chick. He gets in a fight with this kid over her, and he breaks his thumb. So he doesn't report to Melville for that season. And that ends his pitching career. Now he's only batting. Dumbass. His hitting coach, it was the hitting that the scouts wanted. He goes back to Melville where he's batting a 363 hitting, 24 homers, and he won the league's Rookie of the Year and the MVP.
Wow.
1964, he's brought to the Red Sox big league to go to spring training in Scottsdale, Arizona. Johnny Pesky, the little pesky guy, Pesky's Paul. He's the Red Sox manager. He happens to live on the same street in Swampscott that Tony's family had moved to.
Oh, they moved up in the world.
They
big
moved
time.
up from some of us all moved from Revere to Swampscott. Yeah. That's like the Jeffersons, man. We are moving on up when you go to Swampscott. So they lived on the same street. He saw a lot of Tony C. And Ted Williams is also watching Tony Canigliaro, and he likes Tony's style, and he tells him, don't change the solid stance of yours no matter what you're told. There's a problem with his stance, and you'll hear about it later. So Tony is only 19 when he makes the big leagues as a center fielder for the Red Sox. And Pesky's taken a big chance on him. But in 1964, the team kind of sucked. Not a lot of talent on that team. So they're like, yeah, why the hell not? The rest of the team sucks anyway. So his first major league game is in May 16th of 1964 against the Yankees. Ooh. Yankees suck. Yankees suck. First at bat, men on first and second, he hits a grounder for a double play. The third time he's up, he singles. And then the next day he hits a homer off the Green Monster, excuse me, and took his first
it's like
homer
she's never been to that.
I know, it's like I've never been there. I can see Wally the Green Monster. He hits a homer off the Green Monster and took his first home run trot. Nice. I wouldn't mind, but this is typed out. Okay, so I can actually read it, but it's it's the glasses. We're gonna blame the glasses. I don't have my good glasses on. So Conigliaro's major fault in baseball is he crowds the plate. So he has a solid stance, but he is fucking up on that plate. And pitchers don't like that.
No, they don't. So they brush you off.
They keep hitting him constantly. So, I kept typing this, and instead of hitting numbers, I must have hit shift because it says %/24. I don't know what month that is. So whatever number's under the percentage sign, that's what month this is. He gets his first major injury when Kansas City's Mo Drabowski hits him in the left wrist, giving him a hairline fracture.
Yeah, I bet he did.
He misses 4 games. By July, he's had 20 home runs. And in July, in a doubleheader against Cleveland, he gets hit for the 5th time by Pedro Ramos and broke his arm. Now he's out for a month. He finishes the season with 24 homers and a .290 average. No fucking idea what that means.
He broke his wrist and his arm, and he had 24 homers and a 2-something batting average.
Yep.
That's nuts.
1965, he plays in 138 games, and he hits 32 more home runs. July 28th of that year, he's hit by a pitch thrown by Wes Stock and broke his left wrist again. 3rd broken bone in 14 months. The Orioles executive insinuated that if the Red Sox pitchers retaliated, they wouldn't be hitting Tony so much. So he's saying the Red Sox pitchers should be hitting their guys too.
Yeah.
1966, he plays a full season, no serious injuries. There's 150 games, 28 home runs, drove in 93 runs, and led the league in sacrifice flies with 7. Nice. His average was .265, and Boston writers voted him the Red Sox MVP. So he's quite the little player. In 1967 spring training, he's hit with a fastball, and he hurt his back. Pesky told author David Cantanillo, he was fearless of the ball. He would just move his head like Williams did. A ball up and in. Tony would just move his head. He thought the ball would never hit him. Ominous foreshadowing.
Yes.
July 23rd, 1967, he hit his 100th and 101 home runs of his major league career. August 17th, 1967. So before all this, he also, which I thought was kind of funny, he had a singing career. He caught a couple of singles. I probably mention it later on. He caught a couple of singles. He was quite the ladies' man. He was
adorable.
He was 6'3".
Yeah,
and quite the ladies' man. He was, even in the bed when you see him with the big fucking black eye. He's
adorable.
He is. I mean, he's Italian.
Yeah, he's probably like one of those guys from Riverdale.
Yeah. He's got a little swag, a little riz, as kids like to say. He's got a little bit of the riz. Yeah. All right. So August 17th, 1967. A friend of Tony's that he grew up with has his kids at Ted Williams' baseball camp. The Red Sox, they're starting to get some momentum this particular year. They're having a good season. So Ted Williams tells his friend, tell Tony he's crowding the plate. Tell him to back off because it's getting serious with the Red Sox now. So he's like, they're gonna aim for you if you're doing this now because they're not fucking around. The friend passes this message on to Tony before the game. Tony said to his brother he couldn't back off the plate or the pitchers wouldn't take him seriously. So the next game, August 18th, Red Sox versus the California Angels. Jack Hamilton's fastball hits Tony Conigliaro in the face. It misses his temple, but it catches him in the left eye and the cheekbone. This is before you had that protective gear on that side that you're pitching on. Page flip. He jerks his head back so fast his helmet flew off, but he never lost consciousness. It detached his retina when it hit him, and it broke his face. So he goes down like a fucking sack of potatoes. Okay. He didn't pass out, but he collapses at the plate.
Yeah, you get hit in the head at 100 miles an hour.
And he is praying to God that he wouldn't die on home plate at Fenway Park. The pitcher is now coming up to the plate, and the catcher, Buck Rogers. This made me laugh. The guy's name is Buck Rogers. Mike, Buck Rogers. Thank you. Do you know who Buck Rogers is in the 20th century? He had robots and shit. It was this whole show in the fucking 80s. And the guy's name is Buck Rogers. And I'm like, nobody's going to understand this. Okay. So Buck Rogers turns the pitcher away, and he's like, this guy, he's such a bloody mess on the plate. He didn't want the pitcher to see that. So this injury is the beginning at the end of Tony's career. His retina was damaged in the hit, and he suffered severe eye loss. He was out for the rest of the entire 1968 season. He was told it was not too safe to play ball anymore, but he refused to let it end his career because he cannot, when he looks straight at the ball, he can't see it.
I was going to say, he must have his depth perception has to be off too, I would think.
He'll get into, because he does continue to play, but to look dead on the ball, he couldn't see it. All of 1968, he's working on his comeback. I mean, this guy literally had nothing else but baseball. So he learns to use his peripheral vision to see the ball. So he's looking out of the... Could you imagine somebody looking like out of the corner of his eye, giving it the side eye?
I mean, you kind of stand like that anyway, so I guess it wouldn't... Yeah.
So he would learn to look out of the corner of his eye. Opening day of 1969, he hits 2 home runs.
Jesus Christ!
Walk, and he had a game-winning hit. That year, he played 141 games with 20 home runs. And he drove in 82 runs. He won Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah, you think?
1970 season was his best at plate with 36 home runs and 116 RBIs. At the end of the season, to the shock of fans and players alike, he was traded to the California Angels. So he has the best season, and they trade him out. He's crushed. His career starts to take a hit now. He's only 26. He has terrible eyesight, and now it's starting to show. He had only 4 home runs, and he hit .222, and he retired at the end of that year. Takes a 4-year hiatus from the game, and then he tries to make a comeback with the Red Sox in 1975. He hits 123 in 21 games, and then he's like, I'm done. I'm good for good. Things don't get better for this poor fucker. This guy, like, he broke my heart. 1982, he's on his way to Logan with his friends. Massive heart attack. Now, I don't know what he looked like in 1982, but any self-respecting Italian's been eating fucking pasta and meatballs in retirement. So I'm sure he was feeling pretty good with his weight. Massive heart attack. After the heart attack, fucking massive stroke.
Oh.
He's in a vegetative state for 8 years. I believe he was living up in the hunt with his family. He dies in 1990 at the age of 45. That's not old.
No. And he'd been like that for
old,
years.
Mike.
That's my age.
Yes, that's not old, Mike. He was only 45. So in 2006, the Red Sox added a 200-seat bleacher section to the top of the right field roof, now known as Tony's Corner. A Tony Canigliaro award is awarded to the player in the major leagues who successfully overcomes strong adversity. In 1992, it went to Jim Abbott, who was born with no right hand.
Yeah.
That guy, you ever see him fucking play? It's pretty good.
Yeah.
1996, Mike Lowell, who comes back after testicular cancer. Freddie Sanchez, who was born with a club foot.
No.
2007, John Lester comes back with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So, poor Tony Canigliaro. If you Google him, you'll see there's a very famous picture of him laying in the hospital bed. His eye is the size of the fucking baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Black.
Yeah.
Black.
I can't, like you say,
Black.
I can see it. Like, it's so faint. Like, I can see it.
It's disgusting.
Every time you say that name, that's what I picture.
Yeah. It's like the size of a baseball in his face, swollen shut.
Yeah.
Black.
Yeah.
And on this cute little face and this cute little body.
Okay.
So that's poor Tony C. You'll see his restaurants
Tony.
around town, which aren't doing any better than his career did. And it's quite a story that people forget about.
Yeah.
But he's a local boy. I had to cover him. He's born in my HT, you know.
Yeah.
So go. What you got now? What you got now, Laura?
All right. So this is about recent injuries, non-player injuries, spectator injuries.
Uh-oh.
So there's this thing called the baseball rule, which is a century-old legal precedent that states fans are aware of a risk of injury when attending baseball games.
Yeah.
And therefore teams are not liable. So for like 100 years, if someone got hurt at a ballpark,
It's not the team's fault.
they weren't suing because they would get thrown out because it's the baseball rule. You knew you were going in there where balls are going 100 miles an hour.
Bats
They
are
go
splintering,
anywhere.
yeah.
You don't know where they're going to land. Like, you're taking that upon yourself. There's even something on the back of the ticket, which is not actually anything legally binding, but people think that. You're saying you know you have a risk of injury there. But so teams for centuries, when someone got hurt there, they're not really, there's no trouble coming to them because of this precedent. However, the game has changed considerably since this rule was put into place over 100 years ago.
The balls are faster.
Bats are more powerful. The guys are stronger. Fans are seated closer to the field. When you look at old ballparks, there's like a bleacher way out in the side. Now you're on home plate.
Yeah.
You're on the first baseline, like out into the fields. In the areas they're sitting in are just more dangerous for line drives and stuff. The baseball commissioner has suggested teams extend safety netting to the elbows of the stadium, so like all the way down to the back wall. But many teams had not done that because it interferes with the fans' view. How a clear net that you can see through while you're sitting at the game interferes with your view is beyond me.
You know what's going to interfere with the view is when a fucking ball hits you in the face. Yeah. That's really going to interfere when you're blind.
So between 2012 and 2019, 808 fans reported being injured by baseballs at MLB games.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. On August 29th, 2017, I'm assuming you say this Loos, L-O-O-S. Loose, right? Right. Jay Loose went to his first baseball game in a decade with his 3 adult kids. Jay's wife had died 8 years earlier, and they wanted to go to a game to commemorate her. They get to that should happen.
Was he cheating on her and she threw the ball at him?
No,
you motherfucker.
No, she's dead.
They her spirit. Yeah.
Get to their seats right beyond first base, down the right field foul line. During the 5th inning, the family lifts their beers in memory of their wife/mother, just as Jake Arrieta throws a high slider to Cool. Cool swings late and hits a foul ball at 89.2 miles per hour into foul territory down the right field line. It hits Jay directly in the left eye.
Oh!
Yeah. Panic and chaos ensue. People are vying for the foul ball. There's a foul ball instead, so people are diving for the foul ball.
Over this guy's unconscious body.
Right. So they don't know he's hurt. It's like then the kids realize, oh my God, he got hit with this. There's blood everywhere. They're screaming for help. Whatever. The EMTs get Jay on a stretcher and rush him like down into the bowels of Wrigley Field, where he waits for an ambulance to take him to the hospital. While he's down in the bowels, he hears someone screaming, his contents are out. Part of his left eye, not the eyeball, are outside of his head. His contents are out. He had surgery at midnight and was hospitalized for 3 days. His left eye socket was shattered, and he lost his lens and iris of his left eye. He had facial lacerations, a hole in his sinus, and 3 broken bones in his jaw. His retina also had to be repaired. Oof. He needed 5 surgeries in total.
That's a serious injury.
Yeah, and he left him in constant pain, and he's blind in his left eye.
Oh, yeah.
He had to get, he was obviously hospitalized and then, not able to work for a long time. He had to buy a special car so he can still drive because he's, has to have special accommodations because he can't see out of his left eye. This is all like very expensive.
Yeah.
But the baseball rule kind of.
He gets nothing.
It doesn't say, like, I'm sure they gave something, but it doesn't say that. But they can't, like, he's not going to get $3 million or whatever it is.
Right.
On August 25th, 2018, Linda Goldblum went to Dodger Stadium with her family to celebrate her 79th birthday and 59th wedding anniversary.
Oh, not Linda.
She was seated in the loge level, slightly to the first base side of home plate and just above protective netting. She was struck in the head by a foul ball in the top of the 9th inning and died a few days later.
Oh, my God.
Her family did settle with the Dodgers, and they speak out about the incident, calling for better safety measures. Obviously, that was not disclosed what they settled for. In September 2017, Todd Frazier hit a 105-mile-per-hour foul ball into a 2-year-old girl's face.
Oh, my God.
She's seated 6 rows back from the third base dugout at Yankee Stadium. She suffered multiple skull fractures, injuries to both her eyes, and a brain bleed. She made a miraculous recovery and has 0 deficits.
She's somehow. 2.
Brian Dozier is a player on the team, and he was extremely upset.
That would be horrifying.
Yeah,
to think
he said, I don't care about the damn view of a fan. It's all about safety. I still have a knot in my stomach. In 2016, Philly shortstop Freddie Galvis hit a line drive into another little girl's face. Galvis said, "What year is this? It's 2016 and fans keep getting hit by foul balls when you're supposed to have a net to protect fans. The fans give you the money, so you should protect them, right? Mm-hmm. We're worried about speeding the game up. Why don't you put up a net and protect all the fans?" The players are like sick because they're hurting these people, not in yeah. And they feel, can you imagine?
The guy who hit the ball for the 2-year-old, like how you would feel? Or they killed the little fucking old lady?
Yeah. On May 29, 2019, Cubs outfielder Albert Almara Jr. hit a foul ball at 100 miles per hour down the third base line that hit another 2-year-old at Minute Man Park in
Why do all
Houston.
these people have their fucking 2-year-olds at a game?
I wouldn't spend that much money.
They don't give a shit.
Well, I always took my kids, but we weren't sitting on the foul
No, I
lines.
mean, and they're 2. A 2-year-old's miserable at a baseball game.
Oh, no, my kids loved it. They sat
At
there the
2?
whole... Oh, yeah.
Oh, my kids, no.
But
No,
since
no.
they were born. Jack's been there since he was born. Sam, too. They sat there. They loved it. You go downstairs and do
I
all
think
things.
2 is a hard time to take
Oh,
a
no,
kid.
they loved it. But I wouldn't spend the money to sit down by the dugouts. Almora, so he hits this little kid in Houston. Almora was yelling because he was so upset, like screaming on the field. Yeah. He slams his bat down. He's on his knee. Has his head buried in his arm. He runs over to a security guard to check on the girl, like get an update. Is she all right? Is she alive? Whatever. In between innings. And there's like footage of him, like the security guard is holding him up because he's like sobbing. They feel terrible.
It's awful. It would be awful to think you did that.
Yeah. After these incidents, the baseball rule is vulnerable now. The more fans that get hurt and the more courts that rule in favor of the fans, the weaker the rule grows. They are, like, it's going before Congress and all this stuff. They are challenging the rule because they want teams to extend netting, and they figure if baseball owners won't put up the netting to prevent injuries, they may do it to avoid legal and financial penalties. And I got all that information on Jim Rice and those other things on sportsillustrated.com and boston.com.
And I got my information for Society for, I can't read it, Amateur Baseball Research and Boston's Pastime.com.
Nice. So if you go, don't get the rich seats, get the cheap seats. You're safer there.
Yeah, you're closer to the bathroom and the cheap seats, closer to the hot dogs. And if you ever come to Boston, make sure you go and see Fenway Park because it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't think we have anything in the news to talk about.
No, I think it's fitting today because today is Jack's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Jack.
And on Jack's birthday, when I was in labor with him, I was sitting in the backyard. We used to have like a little screened in thing in the backyard. And we had the TV out there and I'm sitting there watching the Red Sox in labor, just watching those Red Sox play. It was like, great day. Then we walked down to St. Joe's Feast. I went to Jen's recital. Did a lot of stuff that day. But I'm like, let me go sit outside and watch the Red Sox tonight. And he's like, okay, Laura.
I had winter babies, so I was just watching a lot of ID channel, a lot of murder, a lot of forensic files. That guy's voice, it's like fucking melatonin to me. As soon as he starts talking, I'm like, sleepy time.
Yeah, and I was like, well, might as well watch this. It'll take up hours of my night.
Yeah.
So.
Was it Jack or Sam? We were watching the World Series, and we didn't know you were pregnant.
Oh, no, that was with Jack. It wasn't the World Series. It was the ALCS. Oh. They lost that, Yeah, that was not a good idea. But the next spring he was born, he was just fine.
The year they were born, they won the
World Series.
The World Series. Yep. They won the Super Bowl that year, too.
Yep.
When was there a basketball or a Bruins
2007.
thing?
2008. Celtics.
8?
Was there a Bruins thing? I thought there was 3 things.
Yeah, they did. The
they
Bruins won around there, too.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was that year, though.
My girlfriend made a time capsule for Cameron, so there's all those.
Yeah.
And I mean, their year was the year they broke the curse.
2004. So
I have
literally
like the ice cream, the T-shirts, all that shit.
we're texting the other night, like on the family group chat. I forget what I was saying. I don't remember what they said. I'm like, well, I just watched 4 Days in October again because I've only watched it 1,000 times.
It's great.
It's
just great.
Documentary on the ALCS 2004. It's so good. It's not funny. And I like get all verklempt at watching it. And Jack said something. I'm like, I woke you up. You were like 4 months old. I woke you up and I was like, you have to be awake. You have to be awake. They're going to win the World Series. And I have him sitting there watching the World Series. He's like, I know, Mom. I actually just told one of their, one of his, I don't know what they are, captain. I don't know what they are, commander. I don't know. Someone he's new out there and he's from here. CO. I don't know. And he's new out there and he's like, I just was telling him that. I'm like, you were telling him that I woke you up when you were 3 months old to watch the World Series. I'm really not 100% sure what he told him. But
well, now we've got the Celtics going for the finals, and a couple of weeks ago they had the 1986. They talked about the whole season 1986. It was so fucking good listening to them, talking about Larry Bird and all those guys. And I didn't. I'm not a big sports fan, but I vividly remember that year. I vividly remember them being in City Hall Plaza talking about the win, but watching that special on them, it was so good. It was so good. You just you get so excited and get so wrapped up in it.
And there's no better place in the world than Boston with there's just no better place. It's just the best place.
Tom Brady getting his little retirement yesterday.
Last night I had Tom Brady getting his retirement. I had the Celtics in
It was a
game
lot
3.
long. It's a lot
It was
for you.
I had to work. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was
a lot for you
very
last night.
stressful yesterday.
Yeah, I was up in the lounge forced to watch the game with some people that we work with. So that being said, have a lovely, lovely summer evening. Go
to a ballpark. Go watch Little League. Go
Yes.
sit outside a
Go
ballpark.
enjoy. Go have a hot
night.
dog, a Fenway Frank.
Oh.
It's the best thing in the world.
So
Watch
when the
Star Wars.
I'm going to Fenway with Mike. We're gonna go do for Star Wars night. I can't wait.
I will not.
I think I'm taking Garrett. I think I'm gonna take Garrett. I think he'd like it. So that's it. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay, bye.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Like, subscribe, rate, and review the Scissors and Scrubs podcast on whatever podcast app you listen to us on. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Scissors and Scrubs. And email us any of your stories or thoughts to scissorsandscrubs@gmail.com.